Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy Show Daily. We are here live on Patreon. Get your questions in, your comments, anything you want to discuss from over the weekend. Obviously, Bundesliga was played over the weekend. And yeah. The main story, though, coming out over the Friday and over the weekend is Timo Werner. Chelsea bound, it looks like. It looks like it's all done and dusted, even though it hasn't been confirmed yet. Obviously, still playing for Leipzig, of course. But I think the interesting thing this is, obviously this was a player that seemed like he was absolutely nailed on to be moving to Liverpool. And because of the finances, because of coronavirus and the pandemic, Liverpool have not been able to meet his buyout clause, and Chelsea have.
Yeah, that's how it seems, doesn't it? There was a lot of media speculation that he would go to Liverpool, and obviously you don't know what to read into that. Sometimes there's a lot of media speculation about every single player, but things seem to be pointing towards him maybe going to Liverpool. But we know that a lot of clubs have lost a lot of money and are about to lose a lot of money over the next 12 months or so, and Liverpool being one of them. You know, no Jurgen Klopp has been speaking about it and has basically said we don't know where we are really in terms of money with what we're losing. You know, some estimates are saying 150 million Liverpool will lose over the next year if fans can't go in the stadiums and stuff. So it's a hell of a hit to take. And maybe they just thought at this moment in time they can't really pay out 50 million quid.
No, and I think...
And big wages.
Liverpool pride themselves, or certainly have done in the last 2-3 years, of balancing the books pretty much. You know,
which is the way you should do it, really.
Well, they're doing it. You know, they're doing it via Moneyball, really, and you know, selling Coutinho allowed them to bring in Van Dijk and Alisson, and they have been able to do that. And obviously with the stand they built, I think that helped them leap into the next bracket of bringing money into the club.
Yeah.
Not only sort of in the stadium, but outside the stadium. Off the back of that, it helped them with a huge new store, and you know, you're going to see Nike reap the benefits of having that new massive store in Anfield. Yeah. You know, that probably was one of the big selling points of bringing Nike in. Suddenly you've got this huge shop as well, which on a match day will be full. And they can't, like you just said, they can't know how much they're going to lose, simply because we don't know how long this lockdown's going to be on for in terms of football. And if fans can't go to the stadium, we've talked about this quite a lot on a lot of our shows, is Liverpool are quite business savvy. They understand, I mean, more than business savvy. They understand, you know, their home kit is always on sale last game of the season, because they know for a lot of their fans who come in from overseas for that last game of the season, that's their chance to buy that kit directly from Liverpool without that middleman being away. They've got all kinds of things like that going on the match, so they're not going to know. For Chelsea, though, they're reaping the benefits, I suppose, of not being able to buy anyone, not buying anyone for like 18 months, because obviously they weren't allowed to. The FFP, Chelsea again are a club that have, in the last few years, haven't gone out there and bought loads of the top draw players, but have done things quite sensible. Well, they do really well in bringing young players in, selling them on for a profit, balancing the books. So add that to the fact that they haven't bought anyone. They've got FFP, they've got money. We know they've got money anyway. That's allowed them to bring, you know, him in, and you know, it'll be a really good buy for them.
Fantastic, brilliant footballer, quick, direct, looks like perfect for the Premier League, doesn't he? You know, Everton tried to get him a couple of seasons ago, didn't he? When Walsh was here, was the last thing they wanted. Yeah. We couldn't afford it at the time. You know, I think we offered 50 and they wanted 65 for it. And we didn't have the money, but it's a great signing for Chelsea, and he's gone up in those 2 years as well. Of course, only 24, I think. Like you say, lightning. He's been brilliant for Leipzig, and he'll fit into there. He'll give them a focal point but can play anywhere across the front three. And, you know, Lampard's done a great job there this year. He's had to, you know, use kids because of the ban and stuff, and that's helped Chelsea, really has. He's been able to integrate younger players into the side. He's got them playing decent football. He looked like a good side. And they've got, obviously, Hakim Ziyech coming in as well. That deal was done in January, I think, for them to come in at the end of the season. And now they've got Timo Werner. Go Ziyech and Werner into that side will make them, I think that'll take them up another level. Yeah,
and I think for me, what they've done really well is bringing Pulisic in last year. This has been his bedding year. And with William and Pedro likely to leave now, that really, again, brings the age down, and that's what Lampard's looking for.
Kept Giroud, haven't he?
Giroud's staying for another year, and I think that's good because they've got that experience, and he'll probably benefit from that. Okay, he mightn't play as many games, but you know, he'll have got insurance.
Tammy Abraham will benefit from.
Well, he's the one that's the most interesting one, isn't it? Because this is a young English striker, and now he's had a lot of it his own way this year because they didn't have anyone, but suddenly he's got that pressure of a top player. A really, really top player, someone who's coming into his peak years, and it's how he handles it, isn't it? And that's the kind of competition you want at a club that's striving to be the champions.
Definitely, this is how you do it. Chelsea had a way of doing stuff that got them success, and then they've had to change. And Abramovich has peeled some of that back, and I know he still puts money into the club. He put 200 million in himself last year, but they've also been doing the turnaround of that squad. And, you know, I think by bringing Frank Lampard in, they're looking at a bit more longevity now and maybe building a team that's going to be in play. And I think this is what we might see through COVID as a result of the pandemic, is teams trying to build teams that are going to stay together for a few years, as opposed to in the past, maybe with Chelsea, with the likes of Shevchenko and Hernan Crespo and people like that. It's been grab him in for a year. I think you may see more long-term players.
It's funny though, isn't it, the way it's turned out though, how Chelsea have benefited from not being able to bring anyone else in, allowing Lampard to go in, no expectations, and he's developed the young players. He's aging out the older players. He's not desperately trying to cling on to a Pedro or a William. He's letting them go. As we mentioned before, like Pulisic will come through now with these players. And whereas you look at other players, like I'd look at Timo Werner, I would thought he'd have been great for like a Man United. You know, Man United need a centre forward really, but can they afford, like Liverpool, to bring a centre forward in right now? Chelsea have benefited massively from not being able to go out and spend. It's mad the way that which was seen as a hindrance is now could really be the thing that pushes them on to be a contender for obviously keeping and regaining the Champions League places. But you know, we spoke to Kevin Campbell on Friday, and we were stressed. You know, we were talking about the Lacazette situation and the Aubameyang situation, like two players going into last year of contracts. They're a club that really should be banging down the door for a Timo Werner, but they're nowhere near it. They're absolutely nowhere near it.
Couldn't afford them.
No, that's what I'm saying, no. And that's where it's mad that Chelsea have, what looked like a year ago, people were stressing and worrying they couldn't buy, has really turned into their favour.
But, I mean, the big thing is with Chelsea as well, at least they had good players though as well. That's what we have to remember. They won the league a few years ago, not long. So they've still got players in that team that won the title. So yes, they weren't able to go and refresh it, and yes, there were some players that needed to be improved, and yes, if there would have been someone other than Lampard in the door, they might have struggled, because especially with a foreign coach, you might have wanted to use Mason Mounts and Tomori and Billy Gilmore and Reece James. These are all lads who've all had a go this season for playing for Chelsea, and I've done Tammy Abraham's another one. He's been there for a few years. No one else has really used them. Lampard's come in and gone, yeah, you're going to get a go. You're going to get a go. You're going to get a go. Because he hasn't had the luxury of spending money. What it's allowed him to do is get his feet under the table. And it's allowed him to, without the expectation, like you said, if he'd have gone in with an open checkbook and all that, the pressure would have been on Lampard from day one. But a lot of people were like, Well, his hand's tied this year, so he'll get them. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans will have, they love him anyway. Yeah. Will have looked at him and gone, well, he can't do much, so let's get behind him. And that's helped them craft the team.
And it's also allowed them to assess the team as well. You know, going out in the Champions League to Bayern Munich will have, you know, and they were pretty much destroyed by Bayern Munich, weren't they? And it's funny because Bayern Munich were almost in the same position as Chelsea were 12 months before. The team just looked old, and now you look at the Bayern Munich. Now you look at the Bayern Munich team, and you're like, oh my God, look how young they look. And they had to make that major reset. And you look at Chelsea now, and he'll have learned so much from those. Because it's mad, because early on in the season they won loads of games, and then they had a spell where it seemed like they hadn't won that many games, but it kept them in and around 4th place, and they'll be looking for a good run in now with the optimism of trying to get that Champions League place, knowing that there's new players on the horizon and everything's set up for a good crack at, you know, things next season.
Well, it looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, if everything's equal, you know, going into the... And listen, Nick, it's going to be interesting how they come back, like it is for every club. You know, the only real team that can take the foot off the gas, so to speak, really will be Liverpool, because they should win 2 games out of 9, shouldn't they? Let's be honest, and they only need 2 wins if City win all of theirs. So Liverpool will be the ones who can kind of, you know, take it a bit easier, I guess, for these last 9 games. I think for everybody else, it's seeing where you're at. It's judging, you know. Man City will be looking at his squad and going, well, David Villa's going out. David Silva's going out the door in the summer. Got other little, you know, where do we need? Although City, I believe, are looking and will be cautious spending money apparently this summer, so they'll be looking at things. Liverpool might be looking and going, how can we strengthen? But for them, it'll just be play these games. But for other teams, you know, it's a period of how do we cope with no fans? Yeah. And then next season, there might be an imbalance because there's not going to be anyone in the stadium. Certainly, I don't think, I've said it before, for the first part of the season, which means probably up until Christmas, maybe, fans won't be allowed in the stadium. So it'll be a real measure for those teams. You know, for Chelsea, we're looking and going, they should be up there, they should be fine. Can they cope with not having fans? Will teams go to Stamford Bridge and not be overawed because there's no fans there? Will they go and have a go? But that's the same for everyone. Yeah. So you look at Chelsea and you say, you look at the team. The keeper, I'm not sure on, I'll be honest. I think he's hit and miss, but they've got players like Reece James who I really like. They've got, you know, will they keep Zuma or do they want a centre back? You know, they've already got Rudiger, who's very good. They've got other people, Christensen, they've got him. You know, they've got good players. You go into midfield, Kante, fantastic player. You know, Barkley's done really well for them of late. They've got Georgie.
Although there's talk today that they're willing to let him go.
Well,
balance the,
you know what? Well, maybe they will, because he'll probably look Lampard and go, well, it's like anything now. I think football, a lot of clubs will do this now, I think. A lot of clubs will look and go, and I hope that this happens. I hope that clubs now stop stockpiling, and I hope that clubs start looking and going,
I'm just thinking of the subs.
No, I know, but that's only for now. There's no guarantee that it's going to go back, apparently, for next season to normal. But what I'm saying is, if you look at a Ross Barkley and go, if you're Lampard and you go, well, got him and Ziyech is coming in now and he can play either anywhere up the front or he can play as an attacking midfield player. He's going to play before Barkley. Do we need Ross Barkley on, I don't know, 85 grand a week? I don't know whether he's on that, but no, we don't, because we're giving it to him, right? We can let him go. And that's how clubs should do it, shouldn't they? And you'd look at Chelsea with Werner now, you'd say they've gone up a level. And
definitely. And they've set the bar. And
well, Ben Chilwell's the other one they wanted.
Well, they do. Him, and they've set their targets quickly, and I think that's right, really interesting.
That might be key this year, Pat, because the turnaround's going to be very quick.
But that's where, for a club like us, where it seems like we're miles behind, doesn't it? In that prospect, there's like we you know.
I think from an Everton perspective, the difference is, can we beat Chelsea at home? Yes, we proved it. We beat them quite regularly. They're a better team than us, but we can beat anyone at Goodison, we know that. The difference, what you do with those kind of teams to get to the likes of Chelsea's level, is First of all, you have to start being able to win away, because that's the key change for all of this.
Yeah.
The teams, are Chelsea better than Leicester? Yes, they are. But Leicester have been able to get result. So you can look at teams and go, well, we're not on their level, but that doesn't mean you can't fight to be above them or fight to get by them, because it's about you winning. You know, think about it, right? That only really matters when you play those teams, doesn't it?
No, I know. To me, though, it just shows that the difference is, you mentioned Leicester there. If Leicester had gone to try and buy Timo Werner, the chances are Leicester wouldn't have gone him.
No.
Because Timo Werner would have looked at it and gone, I know you've done me buyout clause, but I'm not really that ass. But Chelsea can, and that's the difference. That's the level you've got to get yourself to.
And they're still a good side. And they're in the Champions League this year, so they're in it again next year. So it looks like so.
But you're talking about transfers and stuff. The FIFA President Gianni Infantino, he has called for the prospect of salary and transfer fee caps to be discussed at all levels. He said, on the financial and governance aspects, I also heard some interesting proposals on a wide range of topics, from salary caps to transfer fee caps or other taxation mechanisations, to the possible obligation for governing bodies, competition organisers and clubs to build reserves or to contribute to a reserve fund which can be assistance in hours of such need as now. I personally advocate for clearer and stricter financial regulations, imposing full transparency and good governing principles, and not only limiting this to the transfer system but the entire football ecosystem. FIFA is doing already a lot of work on this area, even if we face some strong vested interests who fight against our plea for better global governance in our sports. So he goes on, and obviously this is the weak Man City going up again for their appeal in the sport of arbitration or whatever it is. But he's right, isn't he? Because this has shown us, and funny enough, we're talking about Chelsea there, who's benefited from having a year off because they broke the rules. But he's right. This is the time now for football to start discussing how to create not a more level playing field, but just a clear way of doing things. Because I listened to a clip before of Dan Rowan, the BBC journalist, explaining what Manchester City had done wrong. And it was just, do you know when you're just like, they basically changed, they were said to have changed the value of the sponsorship deals that were coming in, therefore to get round FFP.
Nice.
Well, like, it shouldn't be that hard, should it? It shouldn't be that convoluted. It should be, this is the amount of money you have to buy players and their wages. And it's the same for everyone, and we've spoke about this loads of times. It shouldn't be like, well, if you bring in this much money, then you can spend that much money, but if you get rid of this much money and do this, it's like, for the average fan, it's a bit bewildering, whereas it should just be, right, no, it should be, like we said, it's like fantasy football. You have X amount of money, everyone has the same, and if you can afford the same, obviously, and you do with it what you want.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit berserk, isn't it? You go on about it's when you look at it, Manchester United are what, 650 million in debt or 700 million in debt because the Glazers have got a loan on it and have done that, and yet Manchester City haven't got any debt.
Yeah,
and they can't spend a certain amount. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's all, how you balance your books.
It's all a little bit berserk. The way FFP, the idea of FFP should be a salary cap and should be a transfer cap. And it should be, like we've said before, a pot of money, whether that be £100 million on wages and go, right, 100 million quid on wages. You can pay 3 players 10 million a year, but then the other 20 players have to be split up over 70 million. Whatever. And every club could do that. So some clubs could pay 5 players 50 million a year, 5 players 10 million a year, and the other 20 players then get divvied up to for that other 50 million. One club might pay one player 25 million and 75 million across the rest of his squad. However, let them do it however they can. If everybody does that, you'll still get players moving for a better salary if someone can do it. You're not stopping that. But everyone will be playing by the same rules.
Yeah.
The same with the transfer fees. We've said it before. Just pay the contract and that's it. Or maybe pay the contract and 10 million on top of it so the club gets something, but everyone can afford 10 million because crap players go for 10 million quid so that the club's getting something. What I mean is we need to remove 200 million pound transfers because it's a joke.
But also what's going to come out of this is, okay, we've mentioned Liverpool before and a couple of other clubs saying, oh, it's terrible that, you know, they don't have any money, but the minute it all starts again and the minute people come through the turnstiles, they'll get money quicker than everyone else. So that gap will get bigger and therefore it'll just become a bigger gap of haves and have-nots, and we need to keep the transfer market moving. Players need to be allowed to move, and there needs to be a better system in place. And as you mentioned before, Man United can be massively in debt, but still bringing money in continuously, and that's where their FFP come from. I mean, it's mad. Man United are funny because they're the actual opposite of FFP. Man City are accused of taking money off their owners, whereas the Man United owners take money off the club, and no one says nothing. That's fine. That's fine that their owners absolutely just rip the club to bits because that money continually comes in. But Man City are doing something wrong because their owners are giving the club money. How can that be fair?
There's I kind of somewhere see what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop Man City, Paris Saint-Germain, other teams going, well, we've got, you know, this is the thing with the Newcastle thing, which has gone very, very quiet. It was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago.
Interesting.
Right? So it's interesting one way or the other. I've noticed that no one said a word. No, Staveley was in the papers every day. So, but say Newcastle, that transfer went through and they've got a country's wealth behind them. You don't want them being able to spend £1 billion in a transfer because it'd ruin it. So they'd have one summer and they'd probably only be able to spend about 150, 170 million before they start thinking, hang on, 2 years down the line, we're knackered. And that's right. The same with Everton. We've got Alisher Usmanov. We shouldn't be allowed to spend 500 million this transfer. We'd love it as fans, but we shouldn't be allowed to spend it. Same with... So I get it, what they mean. But the way they go about it's wrong because what they're doing is they're saying, well, all them teams are already established. So... you know, you already make well more money than anyone else. So you just keep doing, you can spend 30% of that. And see you there, Norwich, making no money. You can spend 30% of yours as well. So yours will be 10 million, but theirs will be 300 million. And they call it financial fair play. Well, it's not. It can only be fair when everybody's playing from the same rule book. And that's what they have to get to. And this pandemic has been horrific on a humane level. Let's hope that something good comes out of it for the sport, whereas people start looking and going, you know what, instead of paying bang average footballers 100 grand a week, let's scale this right back. And the way to do it is for an organised... I mean, FIFA, as much as I applaud it, FIFA are a bit rich speaking about this. They're a bit, you know, this is the company that wanted to create a football like World Cup, a club World Cup next summer. And it costs money to be in and make it like the Champions League because they see how lucrative the Champions League is. But I'm glad it's being spoken about because I think football needs it. We're seeing it with football clubs, EFL and stuff, where some of those clubs might survive this thing. So, you know, hopefully.
Interesting stuff moving forward. Going back to Germany, obviously there was games at the weekend. Bayern Munich played Leverkusen. Leverkusen took an early lead and then...
Hilario's goal.
It was, and then Bayern Munich went and did what Bayern Munich do and scored 4 goals. Yeah. Game ended up being 4-2, of course.
They were fantastic, Bayern. I think Leverkusen started really well. The opening half an hour they were really good. Hilario took his goal really well. I mean, Glenn Hoddle was trying to say he mishit it, but he took his goal really well, and they pressed Bayern quite high, and they were forcing them into mistakes, and Alphonso Davies just couldn't get into the game at the start. But then once like they got hold of the game properly, and you know Joshua Kimmins in midfield started getting his foot on the ball, and Goretzka was getting forward, and you know Lewandowski's such a lovely footballer, isn't he? And once they clicked into gear, you're absolutely right when you watch them. When I watched Liverpool take them apart in the Champions League, it was like, this is quite sad to see Bayern Munich just looking. Not that Liverpool weren't excellent, they were, but Bayern Munich.
They looked old and they looked old, tired and slow, and now they just look fast and
full of youth.
And
he's built it. He's done brilliant, Flick.
He's done brilliant. So, this game for us was the first experience of having the in-crowd noise, and it was brilliant. It was, it was like straight away. I felt like there was a game on. It didn't half make a difference for me personally. And then I watched the Dortmund game later on, which obviously Dortmund won 1-0.
They got better at it.
And it was like, the noise was reacting to what was going on the pitch.
He mixed it live, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like reacting. So there was a bit when they were debating whether like there was a free kick or something, and they had like the fans whistling, and then they had fans clapping subs off. And it worked so well.
By yesterday, what game was I watching? Was it the Wolfsburg game or the one in the middle? It might have been, which was
Union Berlin Schalke.
By that one, they had it spot on.
Well,
they had clapping, they had chants in the background. When they scored, the volume went up.
Well, Werder Bremen, Wolfsburg, they didn't have it on.
No,
and it was like so clear that they didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas when like you mentioned there, the Union Berlin Schalke game, it was so much better. And as you say, like reacting and I don't know whether someone's sitting there like pressing buttons with different like you know.
They will do, but
like
that's what they need.
So and it works and it. And
I believe Sky's apparently is incredible what they've got lined up, like crowd. It's apparently.
They've mentioned this last week that I don't know whether it is definitely, but they were talking about the FIFA. They were using FIFA. The crowd reactions out of FIFA, so I don't know whether it is, but I've noticed they had a list of things that they'd come up with. They're doing this thing where it's like almost like a Zoom chat while you're watching. Other fan, you can have other fans, and it's built into the app and stuff. It's called the Fan Zone. But it was really good, and obviously you're going to use it in the Premier League. It's going to be a major selling factor.
The big thing for me was if they dress the stadium properly, then you can, as a viewer, feel the game's a little bit more authentic because your mind does take over and you do start hearing, and it's only when you see the terrace is empty that you remember that there's nobody in there. I've said it before, Borussia Mönchengladbach have got the cardboard cutouts, and from the TV it looks like crowd. If you would have had the noise with them, it would almost trick your mind.
The mad thing is there's only actually 4 games left in the Bundesliga now, isn't it? 34 games, isn't it? Play 30. Werder Bremen obviously got beat by Wolfsburg. They're on 25 points now. They're gonna have to. They're in serious trouble now, aren't they?
They've got 2 big games as well.
Late goal.
Good at it though.
It was good.
The weather was horrific.
I was watching the Schalke game, obviously, with John Joe Kenny and Union Berlin, who should have been 4-5-0 up. Battered them. And then John Joe Kenny smashes one in to make it 1-1, and then they come out second half, and for the first time I think I've ever seen, David Wagner team took the sting out the game, and it's finished with 1-1, and that's they've kept themselves in 10th place. But great strike by John Joe, wasn't it?
Brilliant strike, yeah. Really, not none, was there?
No.
Pop it. We've seen him as a second goal of the season, and you wonder why he doesn't try that a bit more often. But he caught it brilliantly, and they caught the keeper by surprise, really. And I mean, the game should have been done. That cost me treble, like. But it was it was a hell of a strike. But I mean, big results Saturday. Mainz winning at Frankfurt, and I watched the 14 Dusseldorf Hoffenheim game, and that should Dusseldorf battered them. Hoffenheim lost a man early on, sent off, and they threw their chances away. And I watched Leipzig. Anthony Evans got on for for Paderborn near the end, and they got an injury time equaliser at Leipzig. Upper Meccano got sent off, didn't he, in the first half for stupid being booked, and then kicked the ball away and got sent off. And But it was, you know, really interesting. Dortmund were good, but they do look different when Haaland doesn't play. They play lovely football, but they're just not as good without him up front.
If Sancho had scored that would have been goal of the century.
Thingies was brilliant goal, Emre Chance. The move was great, and he just slide footed it past the keeper. It was brilliant. But it was good, and it's gonna be really interesting now. Obviously, we're just 9 days away from the first Premier League games back, aren't we? So it's, you know, the big news for the Premier League, I guess, was that the latest round of coronavirus tests were all negative. Yeah. So they're pleased with that. I know Arsenal played Charlton this weekend, beat them 6-0, didn't they? In a friendly, and some clubs moving towards that. So we are getting closer to the games. But I think, just back to the crowd thing, I think if they do that and clubs are dressing the stadiums properly, it'll make... I know people don't like it, and I know some people, you know...
The people who don't like it are the people who don't want football back. So
I'm just thinking, as a viewer, surely you want it to look and sound.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I'd have that noise piped in so the players could hear it, though.
I'd have that noise piped in when there's crowds full.
No, but if you were a player, wouldn't you like to hear that hum? I don't know. I don't know whether it matters.
I don't know is the ultimate. I don't know whether it would work or not. But I think people either want it to come back or they don't want it to come back, and the people who don't want it to come back, having sound effects probably just makes it even worse for them. Whereas I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I want that, and I thought it was much better, and I thought the general consensus, just like looking at like whether it be social media and like some big, like, you know, people watching it via social media, like I think the likes of Gary Lineker were talking about it, and they were all saying they all thought it was good. And you know what the Premier League's like as well. The Premier League, like you just said, they watch and they'll be building on there, because Premier League, like their idea of everything is, well, we've got to be better than them. We've got to take what they've done and let's make it better. And they will have people sitting in looking to mix it, you know, and have it all. This will be the time where all these clubs will be like, right, they're all your sound effects. Make sure there's a general piped in noise, and then when you score, there's a certain noise, and when there's a sub or a foul or whatever, there's a certain noise, and even if it's like booing the ref or whatever, make it authentic.
But they done it with John Joe Kenny strike. It just went. It went like quieter, but you could just hear it. It's little things like that you know, it sounds naff. Obviously it does, but when you're watching the game, you want that little bit. You don't want to hear players shouting on empty stadiums, because whether we like it or not, these games mean something, and therefore you want it to be as authentic as it can be. It's not the same, it never will be, but you want it to be as good as it can be.
Yeah. There you go. If you've been watching live, I've been looking at the comments. There's a few Everton comments. We'll do them on Live at 5. So if you're on Patreon, stick around for Live at 5 and put your Everton-related questions in there. If you want to watch this show live, if you're watching it on YouTube, get over and join us on Patreon and get to see this show live and get in touch with us and leave some questions or comments. There you have it. Thank you for watching the Footy Show daily. We'll be back tomorrow, as I just said. If you're watching on Patreon, we'll be back in about 15 minutes to do Live at 5. We'll be talking about all the Everton stuff. Anyway, give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you've just joined us, found us, and you're not an Everton fan, and you're like, because I've seen a few of you recently, I've just found the channel, not an Everton fan, then, you know, give us a subscribe, even if it's just for this show. You know, you can watch it every day. If there's anything you want us to talk about on it as well, feel free to leave something in the comments as well. There you have it. Thanks for watching. See you later.